Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritchie, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the unceded land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging. Atta in Albert Park has quietly and confidently become one of Melbourne's most enduring modern Indian restaurants. It's been 10 years since it opened, which is no small feat in this city, and behind it all is chef and owner Harry Dhanjal. Harry has spent that decade redefining how we think about Indian cuisine, balancing innovation and tradition, respecting the roots of each dish while bringing them to life in a contemporary, elegant way. Atta isn't fusion. As Harry says, it's modern Indian. Thoughtful, beautiful, and deeply grounded in flavour and culture. We talked about the early days of Atta and what it took to get people to see Indian food differently, the fine line between innovation and tradition, and why for Harry, being a chef is as much about discipline and joy as it is about technique. Hi Harry, and welcome to Conversation with a Chef.
Thank you for having me.
Well, actually you're having me. We're sitting in Atta, which is a really beautiful restaurant. It's got a few different sections, and where we are is really beautifully whitewashed and so on. What did this building used to be?
So look, it's always been a restaurant for almost 40 years.
Okay.
So it started, the owner, the person who owns the restaurant is a Greek heritage, and he was running a Greek restaurant for almost 20 years, give or take. And then it was a Vietnamese place for a good 10, 15, 20 years, and then we came in.
Okay.
So the history in the course of time, it's only been 3 different sort of people owning the restaurant, different cuisines.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Because it has got that beautiful bluestone as well, the outside facade, and I guess around the bottom part of the wall here you can see it. That feels very Melbourne to me.
It isn't, by the way, it's a heritage listed property,
right.
So there's a heritage overlay, and the owner is very passionate about making sure it stays to its real bones, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really good.
And Atta has been in here for, is it how you say it? Atta?
Atta.
Yeah. Has been here for 10 years, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Because I think in this current climate and having got through COVID and everything, that's a big achievement.
Yeah, the COVID particularly was very difficult. I mean, if I put it that way. But I think the passion and love for food is what got us going, and we were doing a lot of takeaways, and the locals were really supportive, and they made sure to make a point to come and take food from here just to make sure they're supporting the local businesses.
Yeah.
So that sort of got us sailing for that 4 years, 3.5 years or whatever.
That's right. So thinking back to 2015 when you opened, what did you imagine for Atta, and has the vision changed over the years?
So what happened 10 years back, the climate was different. The industry was different than what it is currently. Now, why do I say that? 10 years back when we started this project, it was a very passion-driven project. Today there are chefs, and thank God there are good chefs in Indian cuisine and the arena. They're doing creative bits, and they're doing the innovative, they traveled, and they're wanting to bring, I reckon, not a stock standard Indian cuisine, but sort of bring different flavors of Indian cuisine, but wasn't the case 10 years back. And that was our key driver. How do we make this cuisine shine in this part of the world? And my references were, Joe, what happened back, if you've traveled UK, back in late 80s, early 90s, when the Indian cuisine was looked at like a comfort food, after the pub, $10 curry, $5 pound, whatever the number was then.
Yeah.
And we thought 10 years back that was the case with Indian cuisine as well, 10, 15 years back. And really the driver for us was to change the perception, and therefore it's highlighted on a website very boldly. We're here to change the perception and to highlight how deep the Indian cuisine is, and therefore the inception of Atta. So the art is really driven by a lot of passion and a drive to change the perception of a local community, the people who are not traveled that part of the world, to let them feel, taste that it's deeper.
And what was the reception then at the start?
It was difficult, I must say, because when the guest would come, they would come with a certain expectation and certain perception going to an Indian restaurant, to say it very bluntly. But it took us time. We invested a lot of time, not just on the flavors, but also the presentation, so that it appeals, it feels different, it tastes different. So there was a lot of time in the kitchen, like 14, 15 hours sometimes. I kid you not. Like I was sleeping here. My brother also cooks with me, so we both were like just driven and trying and experimenting and fusing and all of that. Social media was only coming then in mainstream, 10 years back, 12 years back. Well, as far as I know. So we were tapping into that and trying to reach out to as many people as we could. Yeah.
And I saw an article that Danny Valent wrote, which was full of praise back, I think maybe not long after you opened.
Yes.
And she talked about that fusion's usually a dirty word, and that you were doing a few different blending of ideas. So not only perhaps blending, the idea of fine dining with Indian food, but also with different regions of cuisine as well. Is that something you're still doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Joe, what's happening, or rather, what was happening before? You're either a South Indian cuisine, or you're doing a North Indian cuisine, or you're doing some part of West, which wasn't really big. But we thought, look, you know what? It's 26 states with different states, different flavors, different language, different way they consume the food. It's basically a United States of India, like US.
Yeah.
Different states have got their own way of living. So it's a golden opportunity for us to represent not just a state or a region, but to explore and see how we can blend different cuisines within the same country and expose those flavors out here. And that's always been a mission anyway. And this is not a first restaurant, by the way. So we've had different restaurants before this, where we've succeeded and we did not succeed, or whatever the story was. But it always been the ethos that let's bring those different flavors and cuisines together. So yeah, she very well said that.
Yeah. And there's also that play with innovation and tradition, which you've spoken about a little bit already. Yeah. Do you have to toe a middle line between innovation and tradition, or do you go more one way or the other?
I think the more I think about it, innovation and tradition go hand in hand. They're not two separate things. Like the innovation happens. So the innovation is deeply rooted within tradition. The tradition has to be a massive root to hold the innovation, because that's where it embraces and it brings the whole thing together. For example, some of the dishes which we do, the innovation is, all right, how do we present, how do we use modern techniques to enhance the flavor, but also to make sure that we are not, for the lack of word, bastardizing the flavors, just making sure it's real. That's why we never say, Atta fusion Indian restaurant.
No.
We never said that. It's very carefully we say it's a modern Indian restaurant. So what that really means, it's a modern way, modern technique, modern way of plating, but also making sure that we're absolutely respectful of the traditions. And we're making sure what works and what complements are the only ones which stays on the menu. Yeah.
And if you had to choose one dish from the menu that really sums up what Atta is about, is that possible, or do you need to do the journey through the menu?
No, I reckon it's very difficult though.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, because if the dish is there on the menu, it absolutely deserves to be there on the menu. Like, otherwise there's no way. I can go through the logbook, and there's
Yeah.
many failures we've had in terms of putting the dishes together, whether it's a flavor, it's a design, or the composition. Look, there had been few dishes, for example, Sikandari Ran, which is Alexander's lamb. So there's a big history associated with that dish. That dish has been gone through few iteration of the way it's presented and the way it's done, but it's been there since 10 years. Butter chicken, which we do, has been on the menu for 10 years. So there are few dishes which would be criminal to take that out.
Yeah.
It's not because they're good. It's not because they're selling good or they're the favorite, so it's a go-to dish, but they're just good dishes. And that's the reason they're there. Yeah.
So for the diner coming to Atta, what would be the best way to go through the menu? Do you start with the smaller dishes and is it a shared menu or is it an individual menu?
So Joe, the way the menu has been structured, a stock standard dining, like you come and participate in a la carte. We go with the essential. So in essentials, we've got golgappa, like a small bite size. So it's basically just cleans your palate and gets you ready because you've had coffee before or you've had whatever before coming to dine. So it cleans your palate and just makes you ready. So that's the first thing which we do. And then you go through the entree, which is not shared, that's individual. But if you're wanting to share, then you're more than welcome to do it. And then the mains are basically shared curries and naan breads and biryanis, and so that share, and that's when can have a bit of that and can have a bit of that.
Nice.
And then desserts, people do share, but they're designed to have individual.
Okay.
So you start individual, like appetizers, and then entree, shared mains, and then desserts. Yeah.
Tell me about, because I've been looking at some photos of the food and it looks so incredible. The curries look so rich and savoury and delicious.
Yeah.
But I was a bit intrigued by the dirty samosa. What is that?
So the dirty samosa, it's a street food in India. In India they call it chaat samosa. Chaat means it's got a bit of spice and it gives you a higher notes. So that's the reason. That's the reason it's a chaat. And then samosa is obviously, the pastry. The reason we call it dirty samosa, because I didn't want it to call it chaat samosa. We've done a bit of alteration to the traditional dish. So we do a big splash of yogurt, ahang yogurt. So it makes the plate dirty. It's abstract.
Yeah.
I guess I could have called it abstract samosa or whatever. But I thought dirty samosa, it just goes with the dish. It just goes with the presentation of the dish.
Yeah.
But the dish is anything but dirty when it comes to tasting. Can assure you that.
And so that spice level, is that different according to different dishes?
The entree spice levels are pretty standard. Now there's a misconception about spice. Like when guests come in, they go, "Oh my gosh, I'm coming here for the first time. I never dine at Indian restaurant. Is it going to be too spicy for me?" The misconception is the spice doesn't mean it's high on chili. The spice means the heat in the curries, and the heat comes from cumin. It comes from cardamom. It comes from white salt. It comes from pink salt. It comes from Kashmiri chili. So that's what spice means. It doesn't mean the heat. But what happens, however, if you were to come with someone who likes the heat in the curry in terms of the chilies, then you always ask and go, "Look, would you like a medium hot, or would you like hot or whatever?" And then we spice it up that way. But if you were to dine in out of the box, like in a BAU menu and the spice level, it has a heat, but it doesn't have a lot of spice in it. And some of the curries which we do, for example, nargisi kofta, or lamb korma, or butter chicken as an example, it has a sweeter notes to it.
Yeah.
It has a heat, but it has a sweetness to it. So it's not high on chili at all. Yeah.
And when I was in Udaipur, I did a really, probably 10 years ago now, I did a cooking class with a really wonderful woman called Shashi, and she came out and she just had this big round tin with individual tins of just so many different spices.
Yep.
And I guess the blending is important. How many spices, can you go crazy and have 20 spices, or is there a standard number?
The answer is crazy. Yeah. Why I say that?
Yeah.
Because we call it a masala box.
Yes.
And you would go to India and every household will have a masala box. And every household will have their version of masala box, depending upon what region and what state of India you are. So that's very complex if you think about it. Like for example, if you were to come to Punjab, which is near Kashmir, the northern side of India, the masalas are different. Because in that part of the world, people don't use as much mustard seeds and they don't use as much curry leaves.
Okay.
But if you travel more towards south, like Kerala or Madras, or you would find pretty much in this part of the world, you'll find the mustard seeds pretty much common, and you'll find curry leaves pretty much common. So it depends what it is, but normally you'll have about 7 or 8 different types, like turmeric, you'll have coriander powder, you'll have cumin powder. So these are some of the things which you'll find sort of a common thread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fascinating. I loved it. I loved everything about the trip there around Rajasthan. It was such a treat.
They just spoil you, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really,
and
really
so beautiful, just all the colours and lots of forts.
Lots of forts. And I think the history, it's like every person you talk to, and rather, let's say every dish, there's so much history behind it. And you go, this was done when so-and-so, and it was 200 years back, or 300 years back, was cooked for so-and-so occasion. And you just go, one of the interviews I've done, Joe, and I said, look, you know what, one of the questions the interviewer asked me, well, how long does it take you to learn the Indian cuisine? Like, give me the number, Harry. And I said, well, I don't know. Even a lifetime is not enough, because there's so many dishes. And I mean it when I said that. It's crazy. I mean, at Atta, I always say to my staff, we're barely scratching the surface. There's so much there. If we were to change the menu every 3 months, and let's say we were to do that for next 10 years, we can definitely do it.
So how are you journeying through that then as a chef? Where do you go to learn more or to find out more about those different dishes or flavours?
I mean, Joe, I travel.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm not traveling as much as I would love to do. I should be really doing one trip every couple of years, and like a good solid 1 month, and dedicated and meeting people and ingredients and all of it. Just the work way, I'm not doing it, but I'm trying to do as much as I could. But otherwise, there's books I read.
Yeah.
There are great chefs. They've put together, books. Go through it. So there's a lot of material, and now with the internet, sky's the limit. When you start researching on a dish, you could spend days in different versions done by different chefs. So yeah, that's where the sources come from. Yeah.
And thinking about the dishes having their story, for your personally, what are your early memories of food? Do you have dishes that are close to your heart?
Look, I can go back my childhood. So I was a larder chef, I used to call myself. I didn't know, because I know the terms now. Yeah. That time my duty was like Italians, Greeks, and a few other cultures. The food is like a central part. Like if I was to go home and say, Mom, I'm full. I can't eat anymore. Like, oh, really? Okay, are you full? Okay, I'll cook something small for you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like the food is such a center part. So I think from a grandmother, she was a brilliant cook. Like, because she was a housewife, housemaker, the food was such a big deal. And it was the lunch and the dinner. So like it was 2 big meals a day. So there's always variety, there's always cooking. And my job used to be cutting the salads, cutting the onions and all of that. And that's where I was spending reasonably good time in the kitchen. And that's where the whole interest started. And when I came here and I worked at different places and all of it, so I thought this is my calling, and this, because I'm enjoying it, and I don't get tired, and this interests me, and I never feel, oh my gosh, I'm going to work. But I figured very soon in my early teens, I'm like, you know what, I think this is it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gosh. And where did you grow up?
In India?
Yeah.
Yes, up in Punjab.
Oh, in Punjab.
In Punjab, yeah.
And what made you come to Melbourne? Was it Melbourne first that you came to?
Yeah, Melbourne.
Yeah.
So my mother's brother, my uncle, he used to run a restaurant in Bendigo back in 90s on High Street, Rasoi, India. He's not doing it anymore because he's getting old and everything. My mother that time said, look, he's got something happening in the cooking and he wanting to pursue cooking and all of it. And he was here, he was running a restaurant anyway. So it just made me easy transition. Like, it wasn't in Melbourne, but it was Bendigo, so it was pretty close anyway. So I spent some time with him. And then I sort of moved to Melbourne because more opportunities, I could learn more and all of it. So that's how I ended up coming.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you go to cooking school or did you learn on the job?
No, self-taught.
Yeah. Wow.
Self-taught. What I did, however, back in 2007, 2006, whenever the GFC was happening, 5 or 6, whenever it was, I spent a couple of years in India. And I really spent time there and trained myself, reading books and, really starting from basics, like cutting skills and all of that. And in India, I can tell you one thing, Joe, it's hard yards.
Yeah.
It's yeah, when you're working.
Yeah.
So that sort of set the foundation for me, I reckon, more than anything else. And then obviously I came here and then sort of, started learning under different people. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think is the technique, what's the hardest technique to accomplish?
Discipline.
Oh.
Yeah. I reckon that's what I feel. Some of the chefs we work with, it's just the sheer discipline. It's not easy, when you've got 60, 70 people or guests sitting outside and dockets printing like a tsunami. It's the discipline and really having that passion. But I think these two things, if you put them together, then any technique, whether it's cutting techniques or what have you, that can be learned, because that's hard skills, but these are the soft skills. So yeah, it's really, really important. I think so.
So then, do you think anyone can be a chef, not just a cook, but a chef?
As long as you can hone on these two things, though.
Yeah.
And very well said. There are many cooks. There are cooks everywhere, but then not too many chefs. I don't know. I sometimes feel it's also the creative part is in you, though. Like, to think outside the box, to spend time, to learn more than what you've been taught, to do self-learning. As long as you can do that, I don't think it's anyone can be really. Yeah.
And you've won awards and had really, excellent reviews and so on.
Yep.
Is that important to you to be recognised?
I think it just validates what you're doing is right and validates that you're still relevant. And I think not just for me, but also for the team to get the recognition, it basically says that, we're on the right track. People still think there's a value coming here. So yeah, it's important. Is it that important that, it drives the work? The answer is no. But it's important that it makes sure we are encouraged to, to do more and offer more. Yeah. So I reckon it's important.
Yeah. And what do you obviously, you've got the passion. What do you love about being a chef?
I think the creative side to it. Because, if you think about it, Joe, there's only so much real estate you've got to work with. Then how do you make it palatable, Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also to make sure that, you still stand out from the rest. That's number one. That's from a technique and, the execution, but also we've got an open kitchen. I'll give you a tour. People come, they want to talk to me, or whoever's at the past. Sometimes if it's not me, someone else, whoever, they're wanting to know about the dish.
Yes.
They'll get the kids, whatever, and they get excited looking at how the things are done. So, to see the sheer joy. And, at mezzanine, that's like a high ticket item. People would love to come and sit there.
Ah.
Yeah, because that's where they can see us working and plating and,
Yeah.
all of it. So just to see the joy and the happiness. I mean, you come going to the restaurant. It's a happy place just to have that. That's good.
So good. And what does Atta mean?
So Atta means flour.
Ah.
Yeah, so it's a base ingredient for, whether it's your bread or, Atta also goes in some of the curries anyway. So it's a base ingredient. It's like the base and then you build on top of that. Yeah, so that's what Atta means, yeah.
I love that. And you've already really touched on this a little bit, but I usually finish off conversations with the question, what would your advice be to a young person starting out as a chef?
So Joe, as I said before, discipline and really drive and passion. And if you've got these three ingredients as a soft skill, anything else after that would be easier, whether it's cutting skills, whether it's learning different techniques. So I was thinking in my younger age, once you know the technique, you're a chef, but that's really not the case. It's just a small part of the whole story. So as long as you've got that. And you know what, it's also a lifestyle. Like, think about it. Friday night, people are out and about, and here you are cooking. Saturday is the same thing. So when people are going, and if you always look at that side and go, oh my gosh, I'm working here and people are having fun, you're never going to succeed. It's a lifestyle you need to have that yes and go, look, this is what I choose, this is what I'm wanting to do, and this is what gives me happiness. As long as you have that, I reckon any young person can be a successful chef. Yeah.
Thank you, and congratulations on 10 years.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Harry Dhanjal at Atta in Albert Park. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at Atta Restaurant, that's ATTA Restaurant, or better still, get down to the seaside and taste it all for yourself. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef, pretty much what it says on the tin. You can read this chat online at www.conversationwithachef.com, and of course you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. It's still the best way to get these delicious stories out into the world. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.